The charge transactions are used in a situation such as a credit card, charge account, or a checkbook that is tied to a loan. You can process and reconcile your charge or card statement. You can take your end-of-month statement, enter and expense each transaction. Compare the total of all the transactions with the statement, and then click on the Process button, and it automatically enters all the transactions into the register. Before you begin a charge transaction, you may want to set up a couple of accounts. The setup is the same whether it is a charge account at a local business or a charge card. For this demonstration, we will use a Visa charge card. Go to Chart of Accounts, Account Type, and Liability. Here, we have created an account 2010 Visa. Make sure the liability type equals credit card as shown. If this is a charge account to local business, the liability type would also be credit card, as the transaction works the same. Next, in Chart of Account Maintenance, go to Expense Type. Here we have created a 9002 Visa account. This will be used when we write a check to Visa to pay down on your Visa account and reduce your liability. This account works like the 9102 principal payment when you make a loan payment. Here we use a 9000 account as it will not show up on your expense statement reports, as you already have entered your expense when you entered the charge transaction. So this 9000 account serves two purposes: to enter your check to pay Visa and to reduce your liability to Visa. Make sure the expense type is liability. Now we are set up to begin a charge or credit card transaction. On the transaction screen, change from Assets to Liability. The Visa liability account should be selected. The only difference you will notice from checking is there are only two transaction types: increase and decrease. You will always use the increase to enter a charge transaction. The decrease would only be used to do a charge credit or return. Because this is just like doing a check transaction, we will not go into any further detail instructions on the rest of the charge transaction. To make a charge purchase or return, follow these steps. From the transaction type pick list, there are two options with charge transactions: increase or decrease. Next, select Decrease and then the New button. Let's assume we are returning work pants for a refund of $25. The account here is clothing. Notice the account window in the screen. The cursor is pointing at the minus sign. This defaults to the plus sign, but you will need to click on it to make it a minus. The decrease you selected as the transaction type will only decrease your liability account. The minus here is important in order to decrease your expense account. In this case, 8006, clothing. Next, click on the Save button to save the account information. Then click on Save to save the liability transaction. The only difference here is how you enter your expense transaction from the statement. After you have selected your liability credit card account, click on the Process button. Notice the input screen changes to allow you to do a line item input of each transaction on your statement. This is what your credit card input screen will look like. As you enter each transaction, the amount will be added to the total on the bottom left corner. When you have entered all the transactions correctly, this total should equal the total on your statement. On this input screen, you cannot add new vendors, accounts, or cost centers to your pick list. However, you can type in a new vendor but not add it to the list. If you would like to enter a credit, you can do that by putting a minus before the amount. When the total is equal to your statement, you can click on the Submit button and all the transactions will be posted in the register. This procedure is the same for paying a charge account or following the process of a credit card statement. Write a check to Visa and select the 9003 Visa account. After you save the above screen, The account window changed to Liability, allowing you to select the 2003 Visa account. Notice the payment has reduced your Visa liability account. Now, Farm Credit Services and other banking institutions offer a sort of checkbook that is tied into an operating loan. As you write checks, the balance of your loan or liability increases. As you make deposits, the balance of your operating note decreases, compared to a regular checking, which is tied to the asset accounts, which increased with a deposit and decreases with a check. We have found and recommended that in this particular situation, using the liability transactions is the best option. You will need to set up a liability account. It is best to use 2001 for your line of credit checking. As you write a check, the balance of the loan increases. As you make payments or deposit money, the balance of the loan decreases. We have tried to run this through a normal checkbook in EasyFarm. This does not work very effectively. To enter a checking line of credit, click on Transactions. Select the Liability tab. Notice the Liability Checking 2001 account was automatically selected from the liability pick list because it was 2001, the first account on the list. From here, the program will operate just like the normal checking. When doing a borrowed money 4902 or principal payment 9102 transaction, it will automatically open the liability window to increase or decrease your liability account. To print an income and expense statement on Liability Checking Account 2001, go to Reports, Income and Expense, then scroll down past the 1000 asset accounts until you come to 2001.